And that's where we're going to find meteorologist Mike Seidel this morning. Mike, homes leveled really at the blink of an eye. It happened very quickly.
Yeah, typical with tornadoes, in literally less than a minute, your house is flattened. And this is one of the examples. Fortunately, this is a very rural area, so the damage path, you can see it here and there. But this is not like this tornado came through a subdivision. It would have been a lot worse. Bad enough as it is. And there's a backstory. The couple that lived here, they were in the truck when the tornado hit.
I was in the pickup, and then my wife, we were going to back out and go eat some fish, and the next thing I knew, the back end of the pickup was raised up, and there's a tree laying over my hood, and my roof was gone. Happened just about like 2 seconds, it was gone.
How'd you get out of the truck?
Well, the firemen come here, and they had cut some tree limbs off the back, and laid the seats back, and we got out the back door of the pickup. Oh, no, honey. It happened so quick, it was in and out so quick, you didn't know, blink of an eye.
They were very lucky to survive this twister. It came in from this direction. It went back behind me, northeast towards Sulphur Springs and up towards Powderly. So this is a big supercell. NWS from DFW will be out here to take a look at the damage to see where it ranks on the EF scale. When we get first light, we'll give you a better idea of what's going on behind us, how bad this damage was. By the way, this is the latest sunrise of the entire year, so we've got about another 45 minutes before we have daylight here. But everything's piled on top of everything. You do notice the brick front has been blown down, so I'm thinking this could be low EF2 damage at minimum. That's just my assessment here. There were 18 reported tornadoes. This is one of them. This hit about 5:30 local time. Before that, we had some additional heavy rain and gusty winds. This one moved on through, and then the skies cleared. And the big change today, Reynolds and Kelly, is the air mass has changed, much more stable, and temperatures this morning have dropped from the upper 70s yesterday, right now running in the low 40s as we await the sunrise here in eastern Oklahoma. As the crow flies, we're 65 miles east-northeast of downtown Dallas.
Mike, couple quick questions for you. The first one, we've heard from local sheriff's departments urging people not to get out on the roadways, that roads in some places are impassable. I mean, obviously, you made it there, but was getting to that location a difficult endeavor this morning?
We did go down a lot of what they call farm-to-market roads here in Texas, and you could see where they had used chainsaws to open up the roadways where the damage path was. Again, it's extremely rural out here. The surprising thing is cell service is excellent, and here in Hopkins County, no reported power outages. We were going down the road where the damage path was, and everybody had power. I was really impressed by that. Again, I think it kind of did some skipping, and again, it's very rural out here, so you don't see a lot of power lines and power poles, so we didn't see any power poles down. Hardest thing to find this is in the dark, and you have these, pins on your Google map and trying to figure out where the damage is, because this is setting off the roadway, so you really can't see it until you know exactly where you need to be and to find that location. So we're here, and we'll give you some more assessment and be able to show you more of the damage around this home as we get some daylight here later on this morning from Brashear. We're just outside of Sulphur Springs, Reynolds.
Okay, Mike Seidel, one of the best you'll ever find. Thanks so much, Mike.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Mike Seidel. Saturday morning, and we bring you back here to the situation that was significant last night. Severe weather, tornadoes, 18 reported. National Weather Service for the various offices, including Dallas-Fort Worth. They'll come out and look at this one. We're in the town of Brashear. We're just outside of Sulphur Springs, which is right on I-30. That's about an hour and 15-minute drive east of Dallas. The couple was home. They decided to go out and get some fish for dinner. They ignored the warning. They got in their truck, and that's when the tornado hit. It came in from this direction. It lifted the truck, shook them up, and then they were stuck in the truck until the fire department could get out here and get them out because of the trees on top of the truck. So it looks like the cell phone or something's still on it looks like his cell phone is still on in the truck. So what we have here is at least low on EF2 damage. I pointed this out earlier. We have the brick wall that's been blown down. Once we get some more daylight, we'll go around back and give you an idea. We can show you the drone video. Charles Peak was out here before the sun went down yesterday. This hit about 5:30 local time, then went northeast at about 50 miles an hour up towards Sulphur Springs, and then we had bunch of tornadoes right up towards the Red River. Most of the 18 were in the northeast corner of Texas. You can see above, Charles flying around the house. It's a very rural area out here. In fact, I can look around from here and I don't see any other houses. So fortunately, this twister, when it touched down, did not hit a subdivision. Fortunately, the couple in the truck are okay. They were not injured. That's the good thing. Power is on. No reports of any power outages here in Hopkins County. Amazing, as we came out here to find this morning on these farm-to-market roads. We're on these one-lane roads, very rural, and we had plenty of cell service. Otherwise, you wouldn't see me this morning. And we also noticed that the power was on even in the damage path. So it goes to show you how these tornadoes in these kinds of situations where there isn't a lot of power or power lines and poles, you can kind of benefit that area being in a very rural part of the state. So Reynolds and Kelly, the story here was good news all around for the folks who were about ready to drive off to dinner and didn't quite even get out of the driveway.
That is so crazy. And Mike, more on that pickup truck. You said there were, what, 2 people in the truck? Do you know if the airbags deployed? I'm just curious, like, how they survived this.
Let me look. I don't think they did, because they didn't impact anything in the front. They were just sitting in the truck.
Oh.
No airbags. Wow. They were just sitting here, and this got lifted up, and then it came down, and then the tree fell on here, and they had to come in and cut out the tree so they could get out of the truck. But you can imagine for those 30, 40 seconds, this probably scared the living daylights out of them. It would me.
Yeah,
absolutely. Heeded the warning and gotten into a safe place. But, you know, everybody makes their own decisions.
No question. Mike, we've heard that there are numerous power outages across much of the region. On your drive going from Dallas to your present location, any sign of crews? I mean, obviously it was in the dark and you're in a fairly rural area, but did you see any other activity of people go out and about?
Very little traffic this morning. Of course, it was early here. We left the hotel at about 4 a.m. local time. No power crews out. Like I said, no power is reported out here in Hopkins County.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And if you look at Texas as a whole, last time I checked, just over 30,000 customers. Power has come back on, but most of those are concentrated in the 3 or 4 extreme northeast counties over there near Texarkana. So in this part of the state, we did fairly well despite the tornadoes reported touching down from here up to Sulphur Springs and up towards the Red River.
Right. Great work as always from Mike Seidel and let's see, Melody Taylor and Austin Anderson all out there. Wonderful crew. Meteorologist Mike Seidel joins us live from Brashear, Texas. And Mike, the intense twisters, they definitely left a mark. Damage occurred so quickly. Back to you.
As typically is the case, you talk to folks that go through these, and it's over in about 45 seconds or a minute. Let me set the stage. The tornado came in from this direction. They were moving the cells generally north-northeast, sometimes 50-plus miles an hour. There was a deputy sheriff over there watching the tornado hit this house. We just talked to him, and after the tornado hit, he came up to the house here. This is a very rural area. It's just one house. And he knocked on the door, rang the doorbell, nothing. Then he came around the side and heard 2 people screaming. That was the couple that was on their way to dinner. Let's walk over these limbs. We can show you where they were. So trees down across the property. The couple, the owners of the house, they were in that truck. They were on the way to dinner, and they never got out of the driveway when the tornado hit. So the deputy had to get a chainsaw and come back and cut all these trees to get them out of their truck. You know they were scared. They're okay, not a scratch. The house is pretty much a total loss. They've lost most of their roof, and through the morning we'll go around the back and show you how much damage there's been. This is one of 18 reported tornadoes, and after it hit here, it went north-northeast into the nearby town of Sulphur Springs. Here's some more damage video from Sulphur Springs. This is a town right on I-30. In fact, the tornado crossed Interstate 30 about 5:30 to 5:40 yesterday afternoon. The damage there, too. You know, you got trees down, power lines, and some houses. So it was a very violent day for mid-November. A big change in air mass this morning. It is chilly. Temperatures down in the low 40s. We'll have more aftermath coverage and the forecast for the rest of the weekend coming up here on the Weather Channel. So stay with us.
Well, people are waking up to major damage to their homes, downed power lines and trees after severe storms triggering tornadoes in northeast Texas. Residents in hard-hit towns like Brashear, that's a town just east of Dallas, they're assessing the damage. And that's where we find meteorologist Mike Seidel. He joins us this morning. Mike, you're not far from Sulphur Springs. In your location, we're seeing homes that have flattened, and this was one of the more notorious supercells that kind of tracked from your location right on up into southeastern Oklahoma.
Yeah, produced at least several reported tornadoes. 18 so far reported. They'll be confirmed or not confirmed by the Weather Service. This one from the Weather Service in Dallas. This is a house out here. It's extremely raw out here. I mean, you have to look far and wide, another half a mile or so to see the next home. But this one took a direct hit from this tornado. Reported tornado, no doubt it was though, just before 5:30 yesterday Central Time as the storms moved northeast at about 40 to 50 miles an hour. You can see the roof is gone in the back, all the debris piled over here because the tornado was coming in this direction. You can see all the roof here. It's hard to see with the sun. Bricks on the down here on the patio. Look at this tree, this hardwood tree, which was taken out by the strong wind, and it got uprooted. This root ball is huge. It's about an 8 or 9 foot root ball. There's the propane tank that is now empty, thankfully. That was spewing the propane. We got an eyewitness from a detective, rather from a deputy sheriff yesterday, and this is another shot of about half the roof is gone, but then it rained into the house. So I'm not sure what they're going to have to do here. Obviously, they've got a brick home, but they have drywall inside. So I don't know if they're going to have to just basically level it or leave some of this brick up. Let's go around to the front, and we'll show you just a little bit more of yet more trees down on the house. Just follow me around here, and you get a sense of the tornado coming right across the field here. We look off in the distance, as I said. There's not much else to see as far as a damage path. So it may have skipped, we're not sure. Weather Service will determine it. I don't see any of those bales of hay that have been kind of tossed and turned. Damage over here, there's another house beyond the trees here. The house is okay. That's the homeowner there walking through the field with a chainsaw, just trying to clean up their property. But damage path doesn't seem to be very wide, Dr. Postel, because that house over there was not really damaged. And then these buildings, these outbuildings over here were not damaged. So it doesn't seem to be an extremely wide damage path, but it found the needle in a haystack. That's the home here. And the couple, they were in their truck. They were on their way to dinner. They never got out of the garage. And luckily, they survived. The deputy sheriff came in here with a chainsaw and got them out and got them to safety without a scratch.
Mike, yeah, those are some really good stories, and it's one of those hit or miss things, and you just got lucky, right, if you were unscathed, and hopefully many more we will find out were indeed unscathed by that outbreak of tornadoes yesterday.
Good morning. Welcome back to our coverage, the aftermath of yesterday and last night's tornadoes. 18 reported tornadoes at this point, most of those right here in northeast Texas. I'm meteorologist Mike Seidel. This is Brashear, Texas, very small community, very rural, just outside of Sulphur Springs, which is right on I-30, about an hour and 20 minutes from downtown Dallas off to the east. And this is the tally zone, what's left of it. And I want to tell you the story of how they survived, because they were very fortunate. They were in their truck trying to get to dinner. They're getting ready to back out when the tornado hit. Fortunately, the tornado and the force of the wind picked up the truck. It was over here, right alongside their Toyota Avalon, and moved it over and back. Had that not happened, that tree would have hit right on the cab where Mr. and Mrs. Talley were sitting. So fortunately, they're okay. A deputy sheriff was watching the tornado hit here. Back over there, it was coming in from this direction from the south and southwest. So he got over here, knocked on the door, nobody answered, heard them screaming, got the chainsaw, came back, and was able to cut the tree and get them out. And again, they're okay. The sun is over here this morning starting the cleanup process, and a lot of neighbors have come on by and stopped just to make sure the couple's okay, and they are fine. So it goes to show you how quick this all happens. In a matter of 45 or 50 seconds, it hits and it's over with. I mentioned the 18 twisters. There are some power outages now, just over 20,000 customers. Most of those in northeast Texas, right there on the border near Texarkana. In fact, here in Hopkins County, even at sunrise this morning, there was no power out. Let me show you first the aerial footage. the drone footage from Charles Peak, and you'll get a sense of what we're looking at. Very rural. In fact, the next house is probably about a half a mile away, which is fortunate, because if this tornado had come through a subdivision, there would have been more property lost and potentially injuries and fatalities. That was not the case, but it did thread the needle and find this home. In fact, we talked to the Tallies afterwards, and he told us, Mr. Talley told us what they went through as that tornado approached.
We was in the pickup, and then my wife, we were going to back out and go eat some fish, and the next thing I knew, the back end of the pickup was raised up, and there's a tree laying over my hood, and my roof was gone. Happened just about like 2 seconds, it was gone.
How'd you get out of the truck?
Well, the firemen come here, and they had cut some tree limbs off the back, and laid the seats back, and we got out the back door of the pickup. Oh, no, honey. It happened so quick. It was in and out so quick. You didn't know, blink of an eye.
Yeah, that's what they all say. It is very, very fast. Boom, and it's gone. You've seen videos of tornadoes going by, Chris Bruin, and it just happens. I mean, it goes by and it's gone. It just literally, the house implodes. And the gentleman over here, a neighbor, saw that happen yesterday as it came through the area. Tornado watch was out several hours in advance, and they had plenty of warning time in this area, so that's good. The Weather Service in Dallas-Fort Worth, Chris, doing a bang-up job, as they often do. All the Weather Service offices keeping everybody safe and trying to save some lives.
Yeah, absolutely, and lives were definitely saved. And that's where we find meteorologist Mike Seidel. Join us this morning. Mike, a lot colder this morning. What is the extent of the damage there? Are we looking at community or more rural areas with some spotty homes kind of spread out?
Yeah, that's what choice number 2. This is a very rural area, Brashear, and we've got one home here that unfortunately took a direct hit, and we've got the owner. This is David Talley. David, thanks for joining us this morning, and you've got quite a story of survival. Just give us a play-by-play on what happened with you and Mary yesterday afternoon, because you were planning to go out and get some dinner.
Yes, me and my wife, we had discussed before we were going to go eat supper that night. We decided to go eat some fish, so we come out and got in the pickup, and I backed up. And it was raining real bad, so I thought I'll pull forward and let her get in so she wouldn't get wet.
Let's go. Let's give the folks at home an idea. Where was this truck when you came out of the house to go get your fish dinner?
Yes, And so when I came out, we got in there and backed up.
The truck was over there.
It was over here. It was over here. The wind picked it up, moved over about 6 feet, and laid it down. And the next thing I knew, I looked up and the roof was gone, and there's a tree across my hood. There's a tree limb by my pickup, broke out 2 windows. I called 911, and about 2 minutes, fire department was here with chainsaws, and they cut the tree down, and me and my wife crawled over the front seat and got out the back seat, out the side door.
But if the tornado had not moved your truck,
we'd been hit.
Yes. A different outcome.
Yes.
So, surprisingly and ironically, the tornado saved your life.
Yeah. The tornado, the Lord saved us.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
You got the warning, so...
Yes, we got 2 warnings, but like everybody, you go outside and look, and you don't see anything, so you come inside, well, we'll go eat.
Right. Well, it happens so fast.
It's so fast. Blink of an eye.
And they were moving at 50 miles an hour.
Yes.
So, you know, just like that, it comes across the field and hits your house.
Yes, correctly.
And after you got out of the truck, you got a hold of your son. He's out here starting the cleanup process.
Yes, Yes.
He was a little shaken up this morning.
Oh, yeah, we was shaken up too last night.
Right, I can imagine. But you got your wife. You're okay.
Right.
Not even
okay.
a scratch.
Well, had a couple scratches from glass, but other than that, we're both in good shape. Yeah.
So what's your plan now? I suspect the house is going to probably have to be pretty much torn down.
Yes,
right?
Yes. We're going to stay in my church, put us in a motel room for like 5 nights, and then I've got a friend that's going to let us stay in a house he has on his property, and then we're going to decide what we're going to do from there.
And you have insurance?
Yes, I do.
There you go. That's important.
Yes.
And I saw the storm shelter on the other side.
Yes.
Have you ever used that storm shelter in 16 years?
No, I haven't. This is really the Potts family home place, and that storm shelter is kind of a historical site, and it's actually on the state Texas Highway Department property. So can't anything really be done about it.
Right.
But it's just there, sitting there yet, but we haven't used it. It needs to be dug out.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you and Mary are okay. And I appreciate you sharing the story with us. It's quite a story. Yeah. I've never talked to someone who's had their life saved by a tornado that got hit by a tornado. I mean, it's just an incredible story.
A miracle of God.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And take care and good luck with the rebuild.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. David, Tally, Dr. Postel, what a story. I mean, the tornado moved the truck. A split second later, the tree came down in front of the truck and not on the cab. It hit the hood and not the cab. So they're okay, but don't often hear stories like that out here in the field.
Yeah, Mike, actually I have a quick question for you. It seems like a lot of the survivors and the interviews that we've seen describe how quickly things came upon them. And that was sort of characteristic of the severe weather that we saw yesterday. The storms were moving so fast at 50 to 60 miles per hour. There wasn't much time to react, even if you got the warnings at the proper time, right? I mean, is that kind of what you're hearing?
Yeah, exactly, because they can warn only so early, but when it's moving, I saw one cell on my radar that said it was moving at 69 knots. I mean, that's about 80 miles an hour, 75, 80 miles an hour. Yeah, that's more than highway speed. So you can imagine it's over there and it's moving 60 miles an hour. It doesn't take long to go from over there to over here. And with the rain, too, and the visibility, you can't see it coming. And if you do finally see it, it's on top of you before you can get to your safe place. So luckily, they're okay. But the other issue, too, is the fact that the good thing is it's very rural here. Had this come through a subdivision, the story could have been a lot different with more injuries and certainly more property damage here in this part of the county.
Yeah, Mike, thank you very much. Excellent reporting there.
Good morning once again from Brashear, Texas. We're east of Dallas, about an hour and a half drive on I-30. And this is where a tornado took out a house. It's a very rural area. In fact, the next house over is way, way over there, about a quarter to a half a mile over by that dairy farm and those grain silos. So it's very rural, but the tornado found this one. This is the Tally house. David and Mary Tally were at home. They decided they wanted to go out and get their Friday fish dinner. They got in the truck over here. And then as the tornado hit, it moved the truck 6 feet over and out, and so the tree fell on the trunk, on the, not the trunk, the front of the truck, but did not fall in the cab of the truck. So it fell in the hood, not the cab, and their lives were saved literally by the fact that the tornado did that a split second before it hit and took out the roof. What we've got now, friends and neighbors, heavy equipment, chainsaws. They're making quick work of all the trees that were blown down by the twisters that came across this field. Now, I want you to notice the different directions these trees are on the ground. That tree over there, uprooted, is parallel to the road. This one is almost at a 90-degree angle. These pine trees, in fact, you can see all three of them at different angles. That's pretty interesting. And then we've got a tree over there at almost perpendicular to these pine trees. So that really tells you there was circulation, and guaranteed this is a twister that Weather Service in Dallas-Fort Worth will come out and take a look at it. I think at least low-end EF2 damage because part of the brick wall there, which was on the right side of the garage, has been knocked over. And we talked to David earlier. They've got insurance. They'll tear down, rebuild. They got a place to stay, and only a few minor scratches on his arms and hands from yesterday's twister. One of 18 reported here in northeast Texas, where they had most of the twisters. The tornado watch was out at least 2 hours before this twister hit. This one hit just about 5:30 Central Time yesterday afternoon, and they were moving so fast that you had very little time to get to your safe place as they were moving 50 to 60 miles an hour, Dr. Postel. As fast as you'll see a twister move, and these supercells, this one continued to move right up in that direction towards Sulphur Springs and then on into Oklahoma. So this supercell, this paired supercell, was responsible for more than just this one twister here in Brashear. Let's go back to Chris Bruin in Atlanta. Chris, you were working last night, watching the story unfold as these storms moved through here. Fortunately, this one hit before sundown, but many hit after the sun set last night.
Yeah, so we're not really getting a full scope of the damage until this morning when we can actually see the widespread devastation across northeast Texas and eastern Oklahoma.